Hi, this is Sam.
This is Becky.
And my wife is cleaning the kitchen. She is also making cookies. But we're here, as we promised, after 3 more episodes, to watch American Crime Story, the assassination of Gianni Versace.
Versace.
It's been a whirlwind trip over these last 4 weeks, not 3, because for some reason, they took a week off for the Olympics.
Who cares?
They didn't, because it wasn't even on that channel.
I didn't compete. I don't care.
If you know why the episode wasn't on last week, you can send an email to us. You can send it
because of the Olympics.
Well, no, I just made that up.
No, but I'm serious. It probably was.
Because they thought the Olympics were going to do higher numbers?
I guess.
It's B&S about movies at Gmail, bandsaboutmovies@gmail.com. You write, tell us why this wasn't on. Or, you can respond to wherever you found this. Mm-hmm. So we watched 4 episodes.
No, we only watched 3.
3 episodes. 3 episodes.
Because it wasn't on.
Episode 4 was House by the Lake. And this whole episode was about where the killing spree began. I found something interesting that the original Miami Herald editorial board member, Luisa Yanez, who reported on the crime and its aftermath for the Sun-Sentinel's Miami Bureau, she worked with Vulture.com and their writer Kenny Herzog to actually fact-check stuff.
Kenny Herzog?
Yeah. So when Versace's killed, and we know right away it's this guy named Cunanan, and they started going backwards at the same time. Yeah. They found out that everything began in Minneapolis. Yeah. And that Jeffrey Trail and David Madsen were friends with him. But they always wondered, did David Madsen go with Cunanan voluntarily and something happened? His murder was always confusing. Was he a Patty Hearst thing? But, once this happened, they really started paying attention to the murder. They said that she remembers when the murder started. Yeah. That the police made really homophobic assumptions. That because these 3 men were gay, that they were all in a relationship together, or that it was a love triangle. She said that they couldn't understand that.
They could have all just been acquaintances.
Well, that's exactly it. She said at the time, the police couldn't believe that this was anything more than gay. That if you were gay, well, obviously every gay person's dating every gay person.
And the murder.
Yes. Cunanan's motive they talk about was she felt that every time he killed, that person he killed had something he aspired to. Yeah. So he liked the life that
Or he just didn't like how things were going and he was brat about it.
Yeah, she said, he liked the life that Madsen had. He was going up in the world and so was Trail. Mm-hmm. Miglin was rich and well known, and Versace was famous and adored. He went and killed the people who had things he wanted. Once these 2 people he saw as his road to that turned his back on them, like he thought that he could follow, he'd have a friend that he could say, this guy's a famous architect, and this guy's a good-looking guy. That once they kind of took that away from him, she did say that thing is definitely true. What? About them saying that they had the wrong body, how they thought that it was. They couldn't tell who was in there. That's true. Eventually,
what's his name? They thought even in the other interviews, like the real ones, they say that.
Yeah, and the Sergeant Titchich.
They just couldn't tell because of how badly the body was beaten.
He said the guy who screwed up says he's still embarrassed to this day.
What? Thought it was...
that they had the wrong guy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They said that Trail did have a tense relationship with Cunanan. Mm-hmm. His older sister, not long after his death, confirmed that he had become an intrusive presence, but he was too nice. Trail was too nice to get rid of him. Yeah. Jeff was leery of Andrew after a falling out. Mm-hmm. And the other thing they said was that they didn't really say it in the episode, but noticed that they both wore the same sweats and jeans outfit. Yeah. They said that Cunanan actually started to physically emulate him like a single white female kind of thing, and kind of took things away from it. The other thing is him talking about how he would run drugs across the Mexican border. Yeah. He often bragged that he was involved in the steroid trade. When they did catch him, at the time of Trail and Madsen's murders, when they found his bag, he did have steroids on him. Mm-hmm. But they said they could never really nail down anything he'd ever done, like illicit or normal. Yeah. And then the other thing that was right was that buzzer was broken. It was a running joke among his friends. Yeah. Here's the things that they definitely took liberties with in this episode. And this is why I started recording now, because as this show's gone on, I don't believe anything that's on this entire show. No. After the Lee Miglin episode...
Makes for good TV, but...
But that's the thing, we'll get to it, but that party where they were all at the same party... Yeah. Like,
it's just for TV.
It's just for TV. It's like, you know what? Let's just make our own movie then instead of doing this. So in real life, it's implied. The show was kind of like said that Trail and Madsen were together, but Trail was also involved with John Hackett, his boyfriend at the time. Anecdotal reports aside, Trail and Madsen were only known to be acquaintances and
they only met because when they came to visit each other. They
said the other thing too is it's really hard to tell whether or not the road trip is true.
I think that he was taken prisoner because he knew there was a dead man in his apartment. I don't think he went willingly. The
other thing, too, is for what it's worth, Madsen's...
the show, like, when you watch it, what's his name could have gotten away a million times, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Like, when he went to that bar and was out the window?
Yeah. Well, they had the wrong dog. His real dog was a Dalmatian. So Angelo is enraged. How dare... Sir, not all dogs look the same.
That's what he said. He said all dogs matter.
Yeah, no. So, Madsen's private life... Neither of them was necessarily out to their loved ones.
Yeah.
But they believe that Madsen was openly gay.
Yeah.
Unlike in the show.
They didn't live near their loved ones.
But by the mid-90s, he had already done and given work and lectures on AIDS education and advocacy while he was at University of Minnesota.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Trail's sister shared that Jeffrey, a military veteran, did not come out as gay to his parents because he struggled to feel comfortable with anything. Also, they're not sure who spotted the body. Like, they kind of made it look like his coworker had spotted the body. But they said it's really hard to tell which of them spotted the body here. This whole episode, the one good thing about this episode was this the Amy Mann episode with Who's Gonna Drive You Home Tonight. That was like the best part of this whole show. Otherwise, I did not like it. What do you think about that episode?
I like it. Like I said, it makes for good TV, but it's not true.
So the next one is Don't Ask, Don't Tell. This one was all about Jeff Trail and the military. The one thing, here's the stuff that they feel they got true. Cunanan hated Jeff Trail.
Yeah.
That he never liked him from the beginning. Whatever he did, he really disliked him. The other thing is they thought that Donatella Versace was very media wary. She didn't want to speak to the media, and she was worried about bad PR. She didn't make statements. But she did share in a recent interview that the best advice her brother gave her was be true to yourself.
She can't even talk. It wasn't as verbal as what's her name is.
Yeah. So the public reception of Antonio D'Amica, many of the colleagues felt he was not respectful. And then many of the people around Versace felt that he was just a boyfriend. Like, they didn't see him as important as
they make him up to be.
Yeah. Jeff Trail's interview was with Richard Schlesinger for 48 hours.
Yeah.
He felt that his brutal death left his colleagues stunned and saddened, and he felt a connection to the horror that Andrew Cunanan had created. The encounter at Flicks, the bar scene, it's hard to tell the actual time and date, but they say that Andrew Cunanan was a regular at Flicks, the bar where he's at there, and the owner told the New York Times that. That's true.
Yeah.
So here's the things that maybe weren't true.
Yeah.
The Advocate did have an interview. Antonio did sit in. And Johnny wasn't shy about telling him he was his companion.
Yeah.
But it was all about Men Without Ties, his book.
I had that book.
Did you?
Yeah. I think I sold it for money to half-price books or someplace a long time ago.
Yeah. They said that his hair didn't look nothing like... This is the one thing that was not right. Antonio's hair did not look right.
No.
Versace was largely regarded as a kind and big-hearted man. But they make him seem like he was super compassionate here. But in the time for his murder, he had become kind of a bad guy. When he lived on the property, there was an old hotel next door where low-income people had. So there, he bought it and kicked everybody out of that hotel and expanded his mansion. But they said that was a cost to other people, his quest for beauty. To me, not to be rude, but if you spend all that money on that place and there's people not living well next door, that's kind of, if you have the money, that's probably what you do, right? In here, they said the scenes where Cunanan had, like, he went through and he made those clippings all over the wall of Versace. It's happened a couple times, like 3 or 4 times on the show.
They just want to make him out to be a psycho.
They said when they went through his rooms after he died, all he had were fashion magazines and books. There was no shrine. There was no clue that he was stalking Versace.
I don't think he was. I think that it just happened to be a coincidence.
Yeah. Also, Jeff Trail's sister, he had already seen the baby. The baby was born the day before. So.
That makes me happy.
Yeah. He made it, well, he knew and he had been around. Cunanan and David did hit the town 2 nights before the killing spree, and they did eat at Nye's. And Nye's was a legendary polka hall. It was recently redone. But most people think that they went dancing at a gay club, the same place where Jeff Trail's boyfriend waited for him the night he was murdered. Postcard. He would often send romantic, over-the-top postcards to his lover. He sent dozens to David Madsen. The FBI has all the originals. Yeah. But they said, they made a big deal about that postcard to his family that outed him, and that's why he wasn't talking to his dad. Yeah. They don't think that ever happened. That may have just been for the show. Yeah. I thought this one was interesting. And you saw some of the fighting between the Versace siblings. I
felt bad for Jeff Trail.
Yeah? Why?
And I think that he's the most genuine character in the whole thing.
I felt bad.
I saw videos, like the E one when they did the Andrew Cunanan story, and the one they had tons of videotapes of Jeff Trail and stuff. Yeah. He is the best portrayed person in the whole show.
Yeah.
Not everything might be true, but I think they nailed him having what's his name be him.
And I think who is him? Dandy,
whatever his name is. Yeah.
I think one of the interesting thing is, and I don't know if the military is different now, but it really does point that in the last 20 years, the way gay people are treated is almost completely different.
Yeah.
I would not imagine people. I'm sure it still happens.
You can just stay there.
Yeah. I'm sure it still happens, but I think there's less a chance that people are beat for being gay. Yeah. Than they ever were before. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure someone's going to tell me that it's I think it's a lot different than it is there. So finally, that takes us to episode 6, Descent, which we watched last night. This is the one that
This is the most made up one.
The most made up one. So
I do like that house, though.
I figured out who David Gallo is.
Whoa.
It's Terry Sweeney. He's the first out gay male character from Saturday Night Live.
Where?
He's the one that played David Gallo.
Which one was that?
He is the guy who lectured him. Told him all these people out here, they're all your friends, but they're not really your friends.
Guy.
Yeah, he when in the 80s.
The guy who played the gay guy, I think, is the guy from The Hidden. It's not Kyle MacLachlan.
We'll look it up. But Terry Sweeney is the guy that when Chevy Chase hosted, Chevy Chase kept sexually harassing him, and he wanted to quit the show. So he's a really famous Saturday Night Live person. They said that stuff probably really did happen. Norman Blanchard's friends really did not like Andrew.
No, because they knew what he was up to.
But by evidence, Andrew did seem to spend a lavish few days with David not long before he went crazy.
Well, whose money was it?
It was not his money.
No.
In one brief section of the FBI's dossier on him, he stayed at Chateau Marmont for a week, made many calls to Minneapolis during his stay. He had racked up so many bills, his telephone charge was $2,742.72. That's crazy. Now you would just use your cell phone. Again, Cunanan was at Flicks.
Wait a minute. Let's go back to the cell phone thing. Remember the day that we got the 30, how much was that bill?
But that's different than $2,000.
But it's so funny because I'm like, why is there a landline
Because I had to call Canada.
Yeah. Wasn't it $60?
It was like $30, yeah. Because I had to do a voiceover, and then I got laid off 2 days later.
I want that money back from them.
They did say that even as a child, that Andrew did finagle all sorts of things. He did really use the master bedroom in the house. His mother, Mary Ann, did a rare 1997 TV interview and said that. Yeah. The lone TV was in his room. They said, by the way that he grew up, that someone wrote an entire diary, said that he showed entitlement and a sense of contempt for everyone that was more successful with him. They did say that there was big talk in San Diego of his drug use. They probably thought, what's funny is, at the time when they were seeking him, they were like, oh, well, we're just looking for a gay guy, not a gay guy that had been buying drugs. And also, remember how they said that Thrifty Payless, that he worked there?
Yeah.
That's actually a real store.
What's it called?
Thrifty Payless. It was a huge chain in California. Rite Aid bought it. And when I worked on Rite Aid back when they bought it.
Was it like a...
It was like
Big Lots?
No, it was like CVS. Yeah. Rexall. Like one of those big chains out there.
Yeah.
They had a really famous ice cream that everybody bought called Thrifty Ice Cream.
Yeah.
Whenever they stopped making it, there were literally demonstrations outside the stores. People boycotted the stores, and Rite Aid brought it back. So Rite Aid still sells it just in California. Ooh. So here's the things that were...
I heard about it.
So here's the things were wrong. Miglin and Madsen and Lajola. So they said, while it's titillating that all these people could have been in the same room. The lady who wrote this offers that she and her peers never connected. Orr's own reporting of the birthday bash quotes a friend of Trail's asking about how Andrew persuaded Jeff to wow Norman by saying he was a highway patrol instructor, not dress up in naval stuff. They said that Norman had thrown Andrew a lavish beachfront party, but no one has ever implied that Lee Miglin was in attendance, let alone posed for a photo. And when interviewed by the FBI, Norman explains that he never knew Madsen, never knew that Cunanan and Miglin were there. And if anything, Miglin's appearance could be foreshadowing rumors that Cunanan was familiar with Lee's son Duke. But they said there is a photo on page 101 of the FBI documents of several unidentified persons all together at a party for Andrew Cunanan. But I think they literally just took liberties. It's very much a movie written way of like, of course all these characters would come together at this party. Because every episode's been about kind of like in reverse, like the murder, and then we've kind of gone back, and now we're kind of seeing where it all came from. The visit with his mother, she did an interview for Hard Copy. In that interview...
I feel like she probably got a lot of money after all this.
In that interview, she claimed that Andrew was a saint, he was killed by the mafia, and that he was free in heaven. But there's no evidence that he went and saw her before. Likewise, when he submitted himself to a sponge bath, and she talked about his body odor, they said they're trying to make a point that he's kind of like her, that he's crazy, that he's created some vision. They said none of those things are true. Whoever wrote that made up that entire thing. Whenever the scene where he's trying to break into the house, he smashed the table and all those things, that never happened. He actually, when he was in Minneapolis a few days later before the killings, he did try to make up with him via a telephone call. But again, no one is really sure that... there's no way of telling that any of this stuff happened. And that's my biggest problem here, is that the Lee Miglin stuff is just, it's completely made up. And I don't appreciate that. I'm sure because things are in the public domain and et cetera, et cetera. Lee Miglin's son did an interview and he looks exactly like him. The FBI looked several times into claims that Cunanan knew Miglin and his family, but no link was never laid down. His son said there was no relationships whatsoever. A lot of false things were brought up and they were very hurtful, very painful for me personally, and there were attacks on me that I really didn't appreciate, and I don't. After murdering Miglin in his garage, Cunanan went into the family's home, had a ham sandwich, shaved and rested. He stole Miglin's car and got a head start on a nearly 3-month manhunt. At first, in 1997, they thought that Cunanan was targeting ex-lovers or people who may have given him AIDS, but an autopsy showed that he was HIV negative. They think now that he was a pathological liar and drug abuser who became psychotic via drug addiction, jealousy, and that he was trying to go for fame. That's the thing, though. It's like, it's so... The one part I did like about this episode is when David was talking to him and he was trying to tell him, like, we should get together, we should do, he was trying to make it all, like, he was telling him that he had this future with him and all this stuff. And I think from the beginning, he was really clear, like, it's not me, I don't want to be with you. And finally he said, remember when he took his tie off and he said, let's just have a normal night, like, just talk to me. And the first thing he did was start talking about his mother on the plantation with the pineapples.
That he was, rich.
And at no point could he ever shut off this story.
I think he believed his lies.
So we're 6 eps into the season. What do you think of it so far?
I like it, but I don't think, like I said, a lot of it's real.
You wouldn't watch it again?
No.
Who's your favorite person on it other than Jeff Trail? That's the thing. Here's my difference with it. The OJ one, there were numerous characters that I couldn't wait to see them show up each week. Like David Schwimmer was amazing on it. Like every time he showed up, like it was like amazing moments. I still say David Schwimmer stuff all the time. Like, Uncle Juice is going to come back and he's going to stay with us. The scene where he was in the car screaming is one of the funniest things ever. Also, OJ playing cards in jail. There's so many amazing moments on that show. I really don't think it lives up to this one. Or vice versa. This one does not live up to that one.
I think it's different.
Well, yes. But different isn't always better.
Yeah.
What's Tony Cubs think?
Tony Cubs says, don't come over, Andrew Cunanan.
What's Angela think?
Angela says, I would have eaten that ham sandwich too.
Yeah. You know what?
The man's broke into a house eating all their food. So
To be fair, I'm not saying I'm a killer, right? But if you killed somebody and suddenly you went into the kitchen and you were hungry and there was a really good looking ham sandwich, they were like shocked that he'd eat a ham sandwich. I'd eat a ham sandwich right now and we just finished dinner. Like a good ham sandwich is not to be passed up.
I know.
I'm telling you now.
Yeah?
That's the way you do it. Anyways, that's 3 eps of American Crime Story.
It is.
Lots of butts on this show.
Oh, yes.
Of butts. Lots of dudes.
Lots of gay butts.
Lots of dudes grinding, wearing just like suspenders and like kind of holstery kind of outfits at Flicks. Dancing. Lots
You
of.
gonna take me to Flicks?
I mean, if you want to go,
Yeah.
I'll get up on the bar and dance for you.
Yeah.
At Flicks.
I'm gonna see some butts.
See some cakes?
This one in particular.
Oh, Andrew Cunanan.
No! Sammy Panico.
Get up there and dance about. Show people what you're doing. Put that moneymaker out on the table.
Yeah,
Do some floor work. Do you think I'd probably have to do floor work there? I think they would want me to kind of just show my toolbox. Just give it all.
Yep.
Give it my all.
It's good because you don't like clothes.
No, I don't. I think I'm really made for the strip life. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Where should I start? Like Lucky's? No.
Right here.
Like the White Eagle?
At Becky's House of Butts.
Becky's House of Bare Butts. Bare Butts.
Yeah.
Bearbare.
Yeah.
Becky's Bare Butts. B4. We'll see it B quad.
Yeah.
Becky Vegas is B quad. Becky Vegas is B4. B4 what? That's the number that they call when we play bingo.
Oh. Never again.
You're going to go to bingo again.
Not that one.
You'll go to another one.
I didn't like that one.
We should make bingo cards for the show. Here's my bingo cards. You ready?
Yeah.
Here's some of the things that would be on my card. You tell me what some would be on yours.
Okay.
Something that never happened happens on the show.
Something that what?
Something that is impossibly proved as true happens.
Yeah.
You put a bingo chip down.
Yeah.
Andrew Cunanan talks about his mom being a pineapple farmer.
Right.
Put one down. Another one, his dad managed things and lived in New York most of his life. Put one down. He talks about getting lobster. This could be a drinking game, too. He talks about getting lobster in his lunch. Put one down. Guy butt.
My mom would have done that for Andrew.
Andrew Federanen.
Yeah.
She would do it now for him.
Like, no.
Like, but you know, if you see a scene in Flicks, put down. That's another one.
Yeah.
Dude gets his face duct taped. There's that. Andrew Cunanan buys you a gift. That's another space. By the end of you'll win bingo. And what do you get for winning the bingo there? You get a watch.
You get Salvatore Ferragamo loafers.
Oh, yeah. Do you like? You know what the best part about that was? He was trying to explain it, and then he just totally dissed him. Like, you stupid oaf. The guy who's playing him is doing a good job. It's very hard though because he's an incredibly unlikable character.
Right.
So there's at no point like it's funny. I was thinking like, is there going to come a time when they try to make him sympathetic? But you really can't.
No.
At no point has he ever been sympathetic on this entire show.
No.
And like, except the time he cried at the bar while Amy Mann was singing. And the time we saw his weird leg.
Yep.
Episode 6.
Like 27.
Who?
Andrew Cunanan.
Yeah?
Yeah. He would have thought he was older.
Well, he's not. So here's his in Edgar Ramirez plays Gianni Versace.
Do you know the 2 things they found in his backpack when he died?
No.
Multiple tubes of hydrocortisone. And
Yeah.
a fairly extensive collection of C.S. Lewis books.
Well.
Who wrote the Chronicles of Narnia.
You were right.
He also wrote adult books though too, like
Not adult.
but like not kids books.
So you're right. Edgar Ramirez played Mendoza in Deliver Us from Evil, a movie that everybody slept on. Yeah. Darren Criss with 2 S's, so you have to say Chris. He's from Glee. Yeah. He's in Little White Lies. He's Finn Wittrock played Jeffrey Trail. Mm-hmm. That's 2 N's. Finn. He was Dandy Mott. Yeah. Yeah. That is where he is from. Cody Fern played David Madsen. Yeah. Where do we know Cody Fern from?
There is also a 1998 film called The Versace Murder.
Oh, he's from House of Cards.
We don't watch that.
Well, if you watched it, you know. Terry Sweeney was David Gallo. Mike Farrell, again, coming back from MASH. He was Lee Miglin. I'm trying to see who the other guy you said was from The Hidden. Michael Norrie. Yeah, that's him.
Was it? See?
Yeah. Michael, the first thing, he's Tom Beck from The Hidden. Yeah. And he was in Flashdance. Mm-hmm. He's in The Proposal. Yeah. He plays Chairman Bergen in The Proposal. Boy, he really is in all some Becca movies. He is. Michael Norrie in the 90s, was he a favorite of you? Yeah. He's in the Arms of the Killer, a TV movie. He's in
The Terminal.
The Terminal. Is that a Becca movie?
Never watched the whole thing.
Victor Victoria, the TV movie. He was on Law and Order before.
Finding Forrester.
Yeah. Yeah, that's your movie. Yeah, The Terminal. You're right.
Not a lot of Hologram Man. Or that.
No.
Yeah, a lot of.
He was in Easy Rider 2, The Way Home, which is a crazy movie that nobody knows about.
He was in a Harlequin movie called The Matter of Marriage.
Ooh.
And in a Frank Sinatra one, Contract on Cherry Street.
Man.
Whatever that is.
Annalee Ashford played Elizabeth Coate. That's the kind of crazy woman. The crazy girl who was friends with them. Mm-hmm. She's on the show Masters of Sex. Mm-hmm. That's where she comes from. The show about the Masters and Johnson. Marianne Cunanan. Mm-hmm. Joanna Adler played her. She is on the blacklist. Angela says, that's all the people that were important in here. Mm-hmm. This was developed for TV by Tom Rob Smith. Mm-hmm. And he is a writer. He did the movie Child 44. And he produced the TV miniseries London Spy. So, that's a bit more about the Andrew Cunanan people in this episode. Mm-hmm. There's not really a lot of other info, but that's my IMDb deep dive into who's in this. Next week, it's all about the people left behind by Cunanan, about his troubled family. Yeah. So, as well as Versace's family. But we'll watch 3 more episodes. Yeah. And then we'll come back. If you have any comments.
How many more episodes are there?
I don't know how many there are. I'd say probably 3 or 4 more. Mm-hmm. How would people get in touch with us if they'd like to tell us comments?
The website.
How else? If they wanted to email us.
Give them your phone number and...
No. bandusaboutmovies@gmail.com. Yeah. That's how they get in touch. Mm-hmm. Any projects coming up that you'd like to plug?
That's a sexual one.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What
has to do with your behind.
Are you going to put your broken toe in my butt box?
Yeah.
Becca has a fractured toe. And before...
If it could go in really far, I wouldn't feel it.
Before this episode started, I sat her down and lectured her. Yep. And I was an old man, and I told her that you can't do things so much, and you need to settle down. And do you know how much she listened to me? Yeah. How much did you listen to me?
A little bit.
I would say not at all. I would say my words, unheeded. I still love you. I mean, you don't have to listen. I didn't marry you because you're supposed to. It wasn't in the vows like, I'll listen to the stuff. I'll listen when my husband makes sense. Yeah. That wasn't in the vows.
No, I didn't put them in there.
No, we didn't even have any vows.
Yeah, we did. We wrote them.
But not the first time. The first time we didn't.
At the courthouse, yes.
At the courthouse, we said the basics. But we didn't, we didn't do things like those, you never said obey or any of that stuff.
Oh, no, never.
No.
Never,
Do you remember what I said to you in our vows?
What?
Let's see if you remember.
So buy me candles.
No, I didn't hear. That was.
What did baby say?
I said that I would always try to make you laugh.
And you do.
Yeah. And I said that I would always enjoy doing things with you, like watching movies, and that I was looking forward to spending my life with you.
Yeah.
And I'm a writer, but this was the hardest thing I ever had to write, because how hard is it to put all the things you love about someone into something?
Into a little spiel.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have them saved somewhere.
They're probably in that box. Our memory box that's up on the wall.
No, they're, I think, up with the cards from the wedding.
Oh. Mm-hmm. We should go through them and read them and see how many of them I hit every day.
What do you mean?
Like, do I live up to the vows that I promised you?
Yes, you do.
Yeah?
Yes.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, you have anything else you'd like to plug other than your husband?
Just you.
Anything, any projects, Tony Cubs, any projects that you have going on?
Tony Cubs is working on not going to the bathroom in the house.
Yeah, that's nice. We'll look for that.
Being nicer to people.
Yeah. He already has his thing off.
Yeah, I took it off.
Oh, okay. Our dog has to wear a diaper.
Yeah, he's not that smart.
No. He'll just randomly pee wherever. Angela only wears a diaper at night. Mm-hmm. When he's in bed. Because supposedly it's to keep me from going outside at 2 in the morning. Yeah. So I can get a decent night's sleep. This has never happened. So, I'll never sleep again. It's like Freddy Krueger's in my dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to constantly wake up. I think that's the thing. If any of these, Freddy Krueger never goes after people with dogs with incontinence problems, or people with babies,
Exactly.
Because it's stupid. They never sleep. He would never catch them. Well, that's another episode of BNS About Movies presents American Crime Story. Is the longest title ever. The Assassination of Gianni Versace.
Yeah.
I'll tag FX again. They no-sold the last one. They're like, you doing a podcast about us? Mm-hmm. No. We'll do our own show. Thank you very much. Mm-hmm. Maybe it doesn't help that in the tag I'm like, this show's stupid. I didn't. I wasn't that rude. Thanks for doing another show with me, Becky.
Yeah.
Did you have fun?
Yes.
Yeah? Anything you'd like to say to the people?
Good night.
How do you close the show off?
I'll see you at the movies.
No, but you had a new one that you came up with for this one.
What did I say?
You said, we'll see you.
On the runway.
Yeah, so do your close.
We'll see you on the runway.